And I must say, I'm very, very impressed the way Kompany has defined his role as a Bayern coach. He reminds me a bit of Hansi Flick. Also, with the way he reacted on Musiala, he did that in a dignified way. He didn't attack, but he was still clear what he wanted. And when he talks after game, before games, he's treating the job. He's defining his role very, very good. So I a big compliment to Kompany, because people will listen to this and say, yeah, but he's a manager of a big club. Yeah, but this is Bayern.
Hi and welcome to the Fußball channel. I'm your host Markus Fjørtoft, and as always joined by co-host Jan Fjørtoft. That we are speaking following the elimination of two German teams from the Club World Cup. So ends the journey for the Bundesliga. But it's not only the result that has been stealing the headlines. Musiala with a serious injury, serious ankle injury. We provided some updates through our shorts, through our YouTube, where you can also find us in case you're listening to us on audio platforms. But there's been quite the controversy a bit as to who to blame, perhaps, which is natural. But I would love your initial take on what we've seen following the Donnarumma Musiala encounter.
Well, I think, first of all, Marcus, there is no kind of rule book how you're going to react on injuries, because I think you've been on a pitch, I've been on a pitch with serious injuries. You wait, you go over. What do you do? I have defended Neuer not for attacking, saying that Donnarumma did it intentional, but I have tried to explain how is he in his head. Remember, this happened just before halftime. Manuel Neuer and the rest of the team, their golden boy, they're a fantastic footballer, a young kid that everybody loves at Bayern, is on his way to the hospital. That will kind of influence your mind. And therefore, I give an excuse for Neuer going over to Donnarumma, because let's put it like this, 100% did Donnarumma not try to do it. But of course, he was the perpetrator. It's a hard word for me to say.
Big word.
Yeah, so he goes into the ball. Then Musiala comes in there. We've seen goalkeepers done it before. I saw Raiola. I mean, relative to Raiola, his former agent for Donnarumma, he said he took some examples of goalkeepers doing that themselves, that has happened to Manuel Neuer. But Donnarumma didn't do it on purpose. Manuel Neuer didn't tell him that he was doing it on purpose. But the reports now coming out that after the game, there was a lot of things going on. Apparently, there were Bayern players going into the dressing room of PSG and telling Donnarumma, what are you doing? Donnarumma then answering on Instagram, I think, apologized for what he do. I see Donnarumma as a very fair sportsman. I see him as a sensible sportsman. We followed his career since he was a very young, big guy. And Max Eberl attacked him a bit as well, saying when you're 100 kilos and throw yourself into that situation. But I put that on the record of disappointment, the consequences of seeing your mate being involved in a serious incident. And I think when people see this again, when Bayern is now going straight into 3 weeks of holiday, they're coming back in the end of July. Then they are playing two friendlies before they play the Super Cup. So I think at that time, they will kind of, I expect, let's put it this way, I expect Manuel Neuer, when he sees Donnarumma the next time, they will hug each other. I mean, that is water under the bridge in terms of the confrontation with two of the best goalkeepers in the world.
And the consequence, of course, is, and part of the extension of the criticism of the Club World Cup will be that, well, yes, Bayern have earned 50 million euros, but their most prized asset, so to speak, if we can call it that in terms of financial value, and their star boy has been injured. Is it fair, part of the criticism with the Musiala injury, that we extend it to the people that's saying that this Club World Cup is unnecessary, that we're putting these players out, and Musiala being out for half a season before the season has even begun?
It's, of course, oil to the fire for people who are against the Club World Cup. But let's be realistic. I see, and I've said it all along, I see the point of the lack of time off for the football players? Absolutely. But this situation where Musiala isolated was in, that could happen anywhere. That could happen also in a training session. I'm more skeptical when we come down the road to November, December. If you see hamstring injuries, different kind of stretches, pulling your hamstring and all those kind of things happen in November, December. This situation had nothing to do with that. Having said that, I also think that the discussion around the Club World Cup need to be two different levels. Should we have another tournament or not? But if we say we have, and FIFA said we had, I mean, that day, PSG and Bayern Munich and Dortmund against Real Madrid were two very good football games. So I like that. We don't know. This is early science, what consequences that will have on the players coming into the half of the season, especially for players playing in England, because in Germany you have the winter break. In other leagues you have the winter break. The English players, like Manchester City, won't have a lot of weeks. Look at Chelsea. Better example. Chelsea now in the semi-final. If they go to the final, they will maybe have 2 weeks off, if so much. So what's happening then down the road, you don't know. In terms of the tournament, I think the tournament have shown there are some quality games. We've seen the press coverage around the world, except a couple of countries like our own Norway, ridicule it a bit. But you see, for example, in Brazil, I mean, it's all over the things, the media. But two good games, and I want to state a compliment to Bayern, because the way they played against PSG was quite impressive.
Yeah, and two disallowed goals as well, clear offsides nonetheless. But let's review the game and see it within the context of where Bayern Munich are, because they are going up against widely regarded as the best team in the world. A well thought out game, 2-0 it ends. Dembele scores at the very end with 9 men, nonetheless. But it is not in Bayern's nature, perhaps, say, well, we had a good game and we almost won and we take that performance. Bayern is a winning team. It's a winning brand. But we can say in July, going into this season, with the rebuild that Kompany is going through with Bayern, that Bayern are going with Kompany, that it was a promising performance.
Absolutely. And I think you have to give a big credit to Kompany, how he's turned this coaching job into himself. You remember back in the days, I was a bit skeptical. Kompany coming from a relegation at Burnley, he was the 6th or 7th choice on a good day. He has come in there, he has been a leader, exactly the leader we remember as a player. And although I've been a bit skeptical about him not having a plan B always, we remember Feyenoord, we remember Barcelona, we remember the cup, out in the cup, because Bayern is all about the doubles, domestic leagues, and the cup to win that. But we also have to be realistic. He took over a Bayern Munich team with 3rd in the league. We tend to forget that, and he's winning this clear from game one. He put his markers down. He never complains. He's never doing any politics in the media. Maybe he does it in internal, but it seems that he has taken that role on as a Bayern coach in the right way. And what is in the right way of a Bayern coach? Yeah, you have to define your role, because there are so many strong people in and around you. You know, have Eberl, you have Christoph Freund, who's doing the recruitment. Okay, how much shall I influence on that? Then you have Dresden and Heiner. They have the management, the running of the club. And then you have Rummenigge and Hoeneß, who are kind of flying around with their old media plan and strategy. You can't control them. And I must say, I'm very, very impressed the way Kompany has defined his role as a Bayern coach. He reminds me a bit of Hansi Flick. The Hansi Flick kind of found his role. There was not a lot of fuss around the coaching. Maybe they were internal, but at Bayern, you also know that if you say something internal, it's quite obvious that it will be external quite soon. But he has taken that good. Also, with the way he reacted on Musiala, he did that in a dignified way. He didn't attack, but it was still clear what he wanted. And when he talks after game, before games, he's treating the job, he's defining his role very, very good. So a big compliment to Kompany, because people will listen to this and say, yeah, but he's a manager of a big club. Yeah, but this is Bayern. Believe me, to be a Bayern manager is a lot more difficult than being a manager. I mean, I'm not only talking about English clubs where you have no one around except the manager speaking. We talked about that before, Marcus. But also in Germany, this is a club. We know the FC Hollywood. We know the soap opera. We know, and I'm talking about all the pundits hanging around, former great players, Didier Hamann, Stefan Effenberg, Mario Basler, Lothar Matthäus. They're all big names and former Bayern players that that we saw now between Uli Hoeneß and Lothar Matthäus, the fight they had. But always Kompany, nobody will say, well, he said that wrong, he did that. He more or less, I can't see during the season, Marcus, that he's made any step wrong in terms of communication, in terms of his communication strategy.
And we don't think we should underestimate that, because of all the media and all the chaos and the attention that surrounds Bayern. It is very easy to get caught up in it. Vincent Kompany has a natural authority. He has a record to show to. But the lack of sound is a huge credit to him. And I think if we are realistic, and as Bayern fans as well, Bayern are finding themselves in a rebuild. They are finding themselves in a different stage of their history in which they cannot compete financially as they used to. The more you think of it, the more suited Kompany is for that task, as opposed to if there was a more profiled manager, one with a bigger character, maybe a more experience to show to. We saw it with Tuchel as well, who probably would have had his complaints complaints as to what the lay of the land was. Kompany, I think, understands that he's in a phase where he has to prove himself. I think that suits Bayern. I think it suits the leadership, where he says, well, listen, I'm not going to go out and complain about the lack of signings, the lack of recruitment. I'm going to deal with what I have. And he's dealing with that in the best way possible. I think you saw then, as a result against PSG, that they played stylistically. It was a man-to-man sort of approach, but they succeeded to some extent with it. I think you're seeing a team in progress. I think the stage in which Bayern are in, the stage in which Kompany is in his career, I think it is aligning pretty well in terms of dealing with this new look Bayern in the football world. And as Bayern fans, as German football fans, we have to be that honest, I think, about what Bayern is now and how they can compete. I don't know if you want to add on to that before we go into the recruitment as well.
No, I 100% agree with you. But I think you can compare it with Xabi Alonso, how he treated the Bayer Leverkusen job. But people have got to understand, to manage Leverkusen is not easy. But I mean, if you compare that with Bayern, I mean, this is different worlds. I mean, they're not even on the same planet. And Vincent Kompany has done it brilliantly, as has Alonso. I think you can compare the two of them. These are the new kind of coaches coming around now. The way they are leaders, they are managers, they are coaches, they are human beings, and you can see that they are good communicators. I mean, Vincent Kompany and Alonso, for us, in my job as an interviewer, Marcus, they're the easiest to be around because they are polite, they're always there, they see you, which just tells you how they see different players in the dressing room. What I think with Bayern right now is that I think they come to a stage where you have to, if you should criticize something, because Bayern, I mean, this game was all about Musiala getting injured, but it was Thomas Müller's last game for Bayern. Leroy Sané was gone, and he was not involved. He is at Galatasaray now officially. And so there's a lot of things going on now that they need to get players in. If I should criticize them something of the strategy, is that it looks like they just go for one player. I mean, now he is our main target. Oh, it didn't happen. Now he is his main target. That not happening. And I mean, without repeating ourselves, with the Florian Wirtz, we were told, Bayern would probably say, you don't listen to everything that come out of the club, that leaked out of the club. We were told that they more or less were there. I doubted it from day one. You remember that. We had Gittens, where it's been reported that they came late to the party when he was already ready to make a medical for Chelsea. It was told, I say it like this, it was told that if Williams didn't go to Barcelona, if he wasn't registered, he would go to Bayern Munich. Leao, I just read now before we came on, Marcus, that he's probably will have a future at AC Milan. Maybe they didn't get him. They say, no, he's on the list anyway. Now the last one is Diaz. But I think that it's good to get great players in. It's absolutely great. But I think that the main thing for Bayern now is to first define what you need. And then they will probably say they do that all the time. For me, it's not about names. For me, it's about getting the players in that you need. Yes, they got in Ta. Brilliant. Got him for free. Brilliant. I think Upamecano and Diaz can be that pairing at the back. Okay. What kind of player do you need going forward? Bishop, which role will he play? And so on. And I think that's where they're going. And they've said that they need that kind of winger, kind of striker type of players. But they still have Koeman and Gnabry. So the math is quite simple. Will they then be better if they get Diaz? Maybe they will. Maybe not. So I think that is the big challenge for Bayern, to find that player where in which shop do we shop? But with Harry Kane, they were in the main street where everybody else were. They managed to get him. Fantastic. But then we'll see now which players they will, and hopefully the reports coming out, and we trust our friends of the podcast, the Plattenbergs, the Tommy Alchef, the Christian Falks of this world. But it seems to me that they're just going for one player. That I don't like, because as you're saying, to take the next step, they need one or two players to get him in there. And as you also were saying, Mark, the standard for Bayern is to be the best team in the world, not more, not less.
And then there is a dissonance between what Bayern are and see themselves and what they realistically can do. So if we were to be critical, were they ever in a chance of getting a Williams, a Barcola, etc.? Probably not, based off a lot of factors. Yes, financial, but also the lack of player willingness. And now we are seeing maybe it would have been better, and probably better for the overall perception. Not that Bayern can be dictated by that at all times, but maybe saying, you know what's more realistic here? It is maybe a Diaz, maybe it is a Rashford. Maybe that's the type of profile that we realistically can attract. But you have said a couple episodes ago, you weren't entirely convinced if Diaz is the strengthening Bayern need, but
no, how much better is it than Gnabry and Koeman? I mean, that's what you're going to...
But you need depth as well, I guess, as well.
Like, you need a depth as well, of course. But last season, you more or less had Gnabry and Koeman on the bench all the time. So, and then you may say, yeah, that's why we're going to get Diaz in. And Ebel said himself when he's in America, I have to save money. And he's been told to save money. So you got to sell players. We all know this will happen. It will happen to Rashford on loan. And he will be sold in by our German colleagues as the biggest thing since Messi. That's what's going to happen, and I'm saying it a bit sarcastic.
But I think something like that is realistic. That is what Bayern can do.
They already spun you. You think now?
No, for sure.
I love Rashford at his best. Yeah. But I'm not sure. I saw Rashford a lot at Aston Villa. We all want him to get in love with football again. Mm-hmm. We all want to see him do well. So maybe Bayern will do him well. But we know that is realistic. Point one. Mm-hmm. Point two. We know how it's going to be sold.
Yeah, of course.
That's what I'm talking about, and fair enough. Maybe that is the thing, and maybe Bayern could make him go. I just want to remind you of Sadio Mane. He was sold into us on the same way. Sadio Mane was the biggest. I was very skeptical at the time to see him adjust to Bayern, because to be at Bayern, that's what is a big compliment to Harry Kane, Eric Dyer coming there from England, Palhinha failed. You know, these players coming in are doing well, but I understand. Yeah, it's realistically, but I have a conspiracy theory. Okay. I have a conspiracy theory. Okay, because German media, very strong, very good people, very good malls. They have malls everywhere. They have people. Conspiracy is all around. I think that Ebel and Christoph Freund, they are a bit influenced of that. I think that they feel they have to throw some meat to the lions to keep them a bit away. So when Toby and Christian calling all the time, doing stories, they have to have this list. they have to have this list with a lot of big players to kind of feed them all the time. Give them meat. So give them Diaz, give them Williams, give them Leao, give them Gittins, give them Wirtz. Maybe, I mean, that Bayern are after Wirtz, 100% correct. They should do that. All the best players in Germany, it should be a normally target for them. But I think that this is a big of the dynamic in the German media football business industry, that they try, yeah, but listen, we try to get this and that, you know? They write it, all happy, and then, okay, we tried our best. Look now, when they missed Williams, what did Ebel say? Not that they missed out on him, not that we were told that if Barcelona didn't register, he will come to Bayern. We saw his wages, the demands of his wages. No, we couldn't pay him. Well, okay, he signed for Bilbao. So, yeah, okay. So Bilbao is a bigger club than Bayern. So just a theory, Markus, and we'll play them out in a little cut, Markus, and we send them to our friends, and I will take it from there.
Yeah, we'll have them answer to the theory as such. But with that, I mean, there's a lot to discuss, but we have spoken a lot about Bayern, Dad, and rightfully so, following their Club World Cup campaign. We also have to mention the fact that Dortmund went out against Real Madrid in what was a pretty stale affair, I say, from Dortmund's perspective, and then it all came to life from the 90th minute and beyond. And if it weren't for an incredible Courtois save from Sabitzer,
what a save!
Incredible, but out of nowhere. Yeah, 3-2. I think we all expected that Real Madrid would go through. Xabi Alonso has already clearly made his mark on this Real Madrid team, and Dortmund probably went as far as they could given their performances overall in the Club World Cup.
I think they did. Remember, they went into this game 12 games without a loss, so they were good. But as you were saying, I mean, that was a great football game, because that's what I always say. That's why we love football. I mean, first of all, Real Madrid looks like Alonso has managed in a short time he's been able to tighten him up a bit. You can see more the defined runs. You can see more that they understand more how they're going to play. Then suddenly two Garcias with Gonzalo Garcia, great runs, goal overall play. I think he has 4 goals, 1 assist at this. Then you have Fran Garcia. The Garcia's coming all over the place. That was good to see. But then out of nothing, Dortmund came back. Mbappe, of course, been put on the bench, coming in and scoring a wonder goal, of course. But great football game. But I think it's a fair assessment of what you say. Niko Kovac can go home saying that they were good. They did what. Yes, if you see the games they play up to the Real Madrid game, that was not the biggest games, but still they went there, being good ambassadors for German football. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what Dortmund can do going into the season. Remember, Niko Kovac being known for tightening up teams, getting discipline, getting results there. Now he has to prove himself from the beginning. And maybe this Club World Cup, going out now, getting 3 weeks off, maybe that is a good way to keep Dortmund going, keep them in the speed, keep them in the main lane for the season to start. So I think it's going to be interesting to follow Dortmund. I also expect them to get 1 or 2 players in, and I think Niko Kovac is very pragmatic in the way he won't go for the big stars. He will go for the players he need to get him into Champions League again, which is a normal target for these team up there.
And talking about players coming in, we have to mention that Eintracht Frankfurt have made a pretty significant signing. Johnny Burkardt from Mainz, as we know, Mainz's captain, 18 goals in the Bundesliga last season, and is not coming far away to over the trip to Frankfurt. Eintracht Frankfurt fan growing up. It just seemed like the stars aligned as such. But another good signing. And bear in mind, Ekitike hasn't left. They have Batshuayi there as well. They have a pretty solid staple of attackers there to pick from.
Yeah, in 3 weeks' time, Markus, I'll be in Frankfurt. Just order my ticket because I'm going down for some jobs down there. I will see the team, and I'm of course happy. And I think there's also testament to the way Eintracht Frankfurt have worked with the strikers. I mean, Burkardt will know that this is a place to go if you're a striker. You can progress. He will have the target to go into the World Cup. He will go there. He goes from Mainz to Eintracht Frankfurt. That is a big step for him. Of course, I wasn't, because of that rivalry, I'm not sure that will go. But Christian Heidel and the rest of the boys at Mainz, they are realistic people. They know the value of a football player. They develop a lot of football players. They develop a lot of coaches. Say hello to Tuchel and Jürgen Klopp. So this is a great one. And as you were saying, Mark, Ekitike still there, but I still suspect that there will be some desperate English clubs coming in from, not desperate that they should take Ekitike, but there is a domino thing now. If Gittens Delap to Chelsea, then you may say that road is a bit close, but there are other clubs, Gyökeres, coming maybe from Sporting to Arsenal. Fabrizio Romano say that is very close. So, but you can see Liverpool. What will Liverpool do? Manchester United, so and so. Which will they go after Ekitike? What you do know about Eintracht Frankfurt, they have a number in their mind, and they won't compromise on that number. And when you get 80 million euro for Marmoush, there is no reason why this young Ekitike should be any cheaper.
And we had a exclusive with Eintracht Frankfurt CEO Axel Hellmann, where you did ask him about the Ekitike situation. For anyone who hasn't listened to that, I strongly recommend an insightful chat into how Eintracht Frankfurt operate, but no doubt a very good signing of a German international as well. That I think that covers us for today. A bit of a break for the German teams. We will obviously follow. We are in the middle of the transfer window. We also have some good guests lined up for you as well that we are excited to share. But for now, that auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you very much, Markus. And I just remind our viewers, please go in and comment. I mean, subscribe if you want to do that, but also comment, because now 58-year-old Jan Åge Fjørtoft have understood the algorithm. So every comment and every answer from us, and we do try to answer everybody who gives us a reply, gives us more growth. We will love to grow. I mean, that's what we are competitive. We want to be in here. We want to make as good episode as we can. As Mark is saying, we are storing up good guests coming up in the future. We just passed 27,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, which make us proud, and a big thank you to all of you that follow you. So with that, Markus, that was a long Auf Wiedersehen, but Auf Wiedersehen.